In Part 1, Chapter 2 of 1984 by George Orwell, we witness further development of Winston Smith's daily life in the dystopian world of Oceania. The chapter starts with Mrs. Parsons, Winston's neighbor, visiting him to ask for help with a clogged sink, her husband Tom Parsons being absent. Agreeing, Winston goes to her apartment, which provides a stark view into the life within the party members' residences and the indoctrination of children. Mrs. Parsons' children, under the influence of party teachings, accuse Winston of being a traitor and a thought criminal, calling him derogatory names that reflect their brainwashing, such as Goldstein, referencing the supposed arch-enemy of the party. The event at Mrs. Parsons' house underscores the deep-seated paranoia and the culture of surveillance and accusation encouraged by Big Brother, even among family members. Notably, the behavior of the children is a result of the Spies and the Youth League, institutions designed to indoctrinate Oceania's youth with party ideologies and loyalty, to the extent that they are willing to report on their own parents. When Winston returns to his flat, he engages once more with his diary, a forbidden activity that could have him vaporized if discovered. Through his reflections, Winston contemplates the significance of his actions and ponders on the audience for his diaries. It becomes evident that he writes for the future, for those who might still have the chance to break free from the party's totalitarian grip, even as he acknowledges the slim hope of his words ever reaching such an audience. The chapter delves into Winston's memories and thoughts, notably recalling a dream from 7 years prior involving O'Brien, a member of the inner party who he feels a strange connection to. In the dream, a voice tells him, "We shall meet in the place where there is no darkness," which Winston interprets with some sense of foresight and hope. This dream is symbolic, foreshadowing later events in the narrative, and introduces an element of fate or destiny into Winston's otherwise controlled and monitored existence. Despite Winston's brief moments of rebellion, and his attempts to cling to a sense of individuality and hope through actions like writing in his diary, he is deeply entrenched in a fatalistic outlook. He acknowledges the inevitability of his demise at the hands of the thought police, believing that thought crime inherently leads to death. This belief highlights the pervasive fear instilled by the party and the extent to which Winston, and others like him, internalize the party's doctrine despite their inner reservations. Moreover, the chapter examines the theme of the mutability of the past and the importance of memory as a form of resistance. By holding onto his own memories and recording them, Winston attempts to assert some control over his reality and resists the party's narrative. This act of remembering and writing becomes an act of defiance against the party's manipulation of truth and history. Overall, Chapter 2 of Part 1 in 1984 enriches our understanding of the book's central themes, including the power of totalitarianism to infiltrate and control the minutiae of daily life, the manipulation of truth and history, and the struggle of the individual against oppressive systems. Through the lens of Winston's experiences and reflections, Orwell explores the complexities of resistance and fatalism in the face of overwhelming authoritarianism. Thanks for watching this Bookly Crash Course video. Please smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below about what videos you would like to see next.